Welcome back. It's 7:06 on WSBA. With us this morning, Congressman Scott Perry. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
I'm well. We are well. Gary, how are you?
We're doing very well. I wanted to give you, I saw this today, and I thought you would appreciate this. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I have it up as our question of the day, by the way, at our Facebook.com/910WSBA page. And it has react to this Groucho Marx quote as it relates to the present-day COVID-19 pandemic. And here's the quote. Quote, "Politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it everywhere, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedies." Unquote, from Groucho Marx. What do you think? You've never seen that happen with politics, right?
No, of course not. And that's, I think, a frustration, certainly in Pennsylvania, of a lot of folks. Look, I think everybody wants to give leadership across the board some benefit of the doubt. They understand that this is difficult. It's hard to get it right, especially when you don't know things. We don't know a lot about coronavirus. We're learning every day. At the same time, things certainly seem like they're not consistent, and it also might seem like there could be some better ways. I look at the governor's announcement last week, and I think, is there a better way to do this, maybe by zip code or something? Right. Because still, I think we have inconsistencies not only of who can open and what they can do, across state lines, but then across county lines, and it just increases the anxiety level when people don't know what's coming. When somebody says, this is where we are now, and we'll let you know in a couple weeks what's next. Yeah. Well, a couple weeks at this point seems like a lifetime for a whole lot of folks. And without information at all, what that means to them, it just really increases their anxiety level. And of course, everybody around them rightly hears it. I mean, we have people yelling at us every day, and I just tell my staff, be kind, be gentle, work with these folks. They don't know what's coming, and their lives are being destroyed right now, and they're concerned, they're scared, and we just got to do the best we can with what we know.
Has this whole COVID-19 thing, and I'm not talking about just the state or anything, I'm talking about from what you've seen, and you're around politics constantly, has this whole COVID-19 thing become political? Have there been people taking advantage? Are politicians taking advantage of it from where you're sitting?
It sure seems like it, especially at the federal level. I can't really speak as much to the state level. I mean, I've watched my state senators and representatives and kind of some of the action, at least through the news, in the state house. And at the federal level, I get frustrated. We whatever criticisms you had for things like the Paycheck Protection Program, it's something that virtually every member of Congress voted for. There's always a couple of outliers, and I respect them for their opinions. But my point is when it runs out of money, and because people are using it because their livelihoods have been taken from them by the government, essentially, and then we have to discuss and argue over other things to get the program funding. The program that we all agreed on needs to be funded, and we're forced to discuss other things that are ancillary to get that, to continue to fund it. It seems inappropriate to me when people's lives are on the line and weeks are going by, again, no information. Many people at that point hadn't received any check at all, any money at all from the governments that had closed them down. Their bills are still coming in. And a lot of people, especially these folks that run businesses of their own, what have you, sole proprietors, they've never and are never going to be used to being reliant on the government. And so giving the answer, just go to the food bank or just apply for unemployment, that's very hollow to them, I think. And these are folks that are, like I said, self-reliant. Number one, promises and policies don't pay the bill. Number two, they're proud folks, like just about every single American is. They don't want to have to get used to this new normal where they rely on the government for something. They want to find a way to get back to work and be safe and be working too. And this is America. Can't we do that? Can't we be at work and be safe too?
One of the things that I've started to do is I drive by businesses that are closed, and I see the papers on the window, and I drive up to the windows to see, are you closed temporarily? Are you shutting down? And there's a lot of them that are saying we're done. And that's a scary part of all of this, that we're done. We're not going to come back. I heard
that, Gary, more often last week than I'd heard in weeks previously, because I'm on the phone all day long just checking on business. Of course, I have, official calls and all that stuff, but when I'm not, I'm just dialing the phone and trying to check on businesses that I know have been affected or that I can think of. And I have heard we're done more. It is heartbreaking to me. It is just heartbreaking, and I just can't imagine there's not some way to be safe. And I mean, if I can go to the ice cream shop, I took my kids, my wife and I took our kids to the ice cream shop, one of the local places yesterday. To me, when I was a kid, we never went to the ice cream shop, quite honestly. We could afford to, right? So, when
I was a kid, we didn't even have ice cream yet, so don't feel bad.
There you go, right? So I guess my point is that if they can sell ice cream safely, can't we do all these other things? I mean, America has conquered so much. Can't we just find a way to get ourselves back in gear here and be safe about it? I think the American people and people of Pennsylvania want to do it and will do it.
One of the questions that someone posed this to me yesterday, I thought was really interesting. They said, if masks work, why can't we use them to get back to work? And if masks don't work, why are we being forced to wear them? I mean, isn't that an interesting question? And we're using them in supermarkets. We're using them elsewhere. Doesn't that make some sense?
It does make some sense to me. I had a town hall last week, Gary, and the good doctor from Penn State. I did ask a question. I said, I see people driving around in their cars with nobody else in the car with them with a mask on.
Yeah.
What's that doing? And I didn't mean to be rude about it or make light of it. Maybe I don't understand, but the doctor essentially said it's doing absolutely nothing. Maybe it helps the person's mental condition, their psyche for the whole thing. But I would agree with you, Gary. If these masks work and we're spending all this money, if we spend countless billions on things like PPE now, and rightly so, but assuming they work. But if they work, then why aren't we using it? And if they don't work, why are we using them? Again, I'm frustrated for the folks that I'm dealing with. We all know that this is serious, and we all probably know somebody now that's been affected, maybe even mortally with COVID-19. But our economy is suffering, and people are suffering mightily, and there's got to be some relief.
Isn't there a middle ground somewhere?
Yeah.
Congressman Scott Perry from the 10th Congressional here on WSBA Morning News with Gary Sutton, WSBA